Church of Caboose, and I'm bringing you guys a update to a previous Destiny 2 video I made about the Iron Banner quest step, Light 'em Up. That video got a lot of attention compared to other videos of mine, and I felt like I could update it with some more information, be a little bit more organized, and just try and give you guys a more complete video that kind of covers over everything. And I'm going to try and take advantage of being able to talk through things and use some of this video editing. So I also wanted to try it out just to see if I could give you guys just a better video. So what this step includes is you gotta get grenade kills, you gotta get punch kills, and you gotta get super kills. Now, this quest step is in a line of quests that rewards you with Iron Banner armor that allows you to put on ornaments from, I believe it's the year 1 of Destiny 2. So that way you can kind of relive your old favorite armor pieces as well as have some fun and incentives to play Iron Banner outside of just doing it because why not, you know? So here we go. Let's go ahead and get on into this. We're going to be covering each different class, so Hunter, Warlock, and Titan, and what I would suggest you do for each step. And we're going to first go over grenades, then punch kills, and then supers. So let's start off with the Hunter on grenade kills. I would suggest that you guys, for all of these, use as many grenade mods as you can. They're not super expensive if you don't have them equipped. It costs usually about 5,000 glimmer to apply these mods onto pieces of armor, and it'll help you to get your grenades back faster. You would also probably want to have on some super mods at the same time, so that way you can kind of work on a couple of things at once. But we're focusing on grenades, so let's get on into this. For hunters, I would suggest using Shinobu's Vow with skip grenades. Or Shinobu's Vow is an exotic arm piece that gives you more lethal skip grenades that have improved tracking. And so if you are having enough grenade mods, what I would suggest you do is have on a hand cannon or something you feel you could reliably do a little bit of damage with, and then throw that skip grenade at them, and you will probably get a kill. And that would be my number one tip as a hunter for how to get grenade kills, would be to use Shinobu's Vow. If any other hunters have other tips out there for how they would do it, feel free to comment on them down below. I'm a hunter main, but for me that is working pretty well when I want to get grenade kills, is to use that Shinobu's Vow with skip grenades and have on grenade mods. Now for the Warlock, I would suggest using the Controverse Hold exotic and running Attunement of Chaos. The Attunement of Chaos is the Nova Bomb that gives you the slow tracking Nova Bomb. When it explodes, it busts out into a bunch of little mini ones. And the reason I suggest using that tree is because when you charge up your grenade, it turns into a mini supernova. And Controverse Hold, the Gauntlet exotic for Warlock, makes void grenades better. And so you pair those two together, you will probably consistently getting one kill per each grenade you use, as long as you hit the individual at a relatively close range. Now, the downside of using this strat is you do have to hold the grenade and charge it, so make sure you're paying attention to your radar, so that way you can tell when an enemy is getting close to you. Because if you're just trying to charge it up in the middle of a firefight, that probably won't work, and odds are you will get killed. So you kind of have to prep it a little bit like a fusion rifle. Now let's go on to Titans. I would suggest you run top tree with 2 pulse grenades. That's one good option. Pulse grenades have always been very strong, and if you run the top tree and the arc class, then you get 2 of your grenades. And so if you do 2 pulse grenades, it's a little bit easier to get kills, and it's a little bit more forgiving. If you misthrow the first one, because maybe you have on or took off a mod that either increases or reduces your grenade speed, or if you have an armor piece that's got fastball on it, you never know. You can misjudge a throw, or sometimes you just don't throw quite right. So you get a little bit of grace by having 2 pulse grenades. The other option you could do would be to use a solar super class and have on the Hollow Fire Chest Exotic or the Heart of Inmost Light. Now, what the Hollow Fire does is when your super is charged up, it greatly increases your grenade and abilities of recharge rate, and so you will get grenades a lot quicker. And so if you want to go with this route, you would probably want to make sure you're capturing zones, a lot of them, because that gives you super energy, as well as using masterwork weapons. That way you can try and generate some orbs and pick up your teammates' orbs that they generate. And then once you get your super, just don't use it until you feel like you either are at the very end, there's nothing else you can do, or you're trying to come back from a win, because this exotic really only helps you out if you have your super charged. So if you're going to use Hollow Fire, I would suggest just not using your super until the very, very end of the match. Unless you find you're really good at getting your supers back, maybe you got a full team together, but that part's up to you. I would just suggest, particularly if you're solo, not using your super at all if you're going to run solar super, whether it be hammers, topper bomb tree, or burning maul, and the new middle tree one. And then you're using Hollow Fire. Or you could use Heart of Inmost Light. I would suggest using this one on, and you could use it on any class, but the solar grenades, if you're not running 2 pulse grenades, seem to do a little bit better. But however, Heart of Inmost Light is usable for all classes. What this chest exotic does is it increases your recharge rate of an ability that you didn't deploy. So you could drop a rally barricade or a towering barricade, and then your punch and your grenade regen would go whoop, go right up, and you would probably get your grenade back. The only downside, really, with using this particular deal is that you have to have other abilities charged up, so you're a little bit more limited because you're kind of using one ability to boost another one. And one of the nice things with Titan is you can do hammer strikes, which would allow you to work on punch kills at the same time as grenade kills with a little bit more ease. So speaking of punch kills, now we're going to move on into the melee portion of the Light 'em Up quest. For Hunter, I did a little bit of digging on the internet to see if I could make sure I could get you guys a couple of exotics that might work better. And I found one highly recommended exotic is called the Liar's Handshake. What this exotic does is increases melee damage after getting punched yourself and heals you. It also activates after using your special ability. So if you have the new super on where you can slide and it puts out that little arc blast, then you would get increased health and more punch damage. Or if you use the dodge, I would imagine that would work the same way because that is your special ability. So Liar's Handshake just gives you a buff with being punched. Now, if you're a hunter, you're a little bit closer probably than Titan or Warlock because the hunter range for punching doesn't seem to be as far as those other two classes. And so you probably will get hit yourself. And so having that buff and boost in damage after getting hit or after using your special ability should be very nifty and help you guys out a lot. I would also suggest pairing that exotic with the top tree Arc Strider because that top tree increases melee damage. You can kind of stack things up. And then I would also suggest trying to slap on a shotgun or something that has 1-2 punch. The 1-2 punch perk seems like that energy shotgun from the raid. I'm blanking on what it's called, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Not the Imperial Decree, but the other one. That one seems to not be a guaranteed one-hit kill, and you can get 1-2 punch on it. So if you have one of those, you could do that, or if you're pulling stuff out of exotics, or maybe you want to use armor with different mods based off of these suggestions, maybe your light level goes down a little bit, and it'd be not a one-hit kill anyways, because light level does matter in Iron Banner. Now for Titan with punch, or excuse me, not Titan, Warlock with punch kills. I found 2 exotics that I think would help you guys out. The first one's Winter's Guile. It increases melee damage after each final blow from a punch. So you can stack up and get more kills. This next exotic I think is more useful and it would be a little bit better with this punching thing. But since they're both RNG exotics, you might not have both of them, so that's why I'm covering them both. Karnstein Amulets. It has this perk called Vampire Caress, and I mentioned the perks. I just love that name, Vampire Caress. I think that's pretty cool. Anyways, what it does is melee attacks grant more resilience, more mobility, and kills will restore your health. Once you land a punch, you'll have the injured enemies on the map will be highlighted, and I think getting more, you get a buff to almost everything, guys. Like you get more health, you can move faster, and then if you get a kill with that punch, you restore your health back. And it's also really nifty to see who's injured because you could go chase them down real quick and maybe get a little bit easier of a kill with a melee. Now Titans do not have the brunt on this one. This punch kills are a little easier for Titans. The grenade kills are probably a little easier for Warlock. But anyways, let's talk about punch kills with Titans. I would suggest always using a class tree that has shoulder charge. There's one for arc, there's one for solar, and there's one for void. So you always have the option. Just make sure when you are picking your tree, you just double check the void one has shield bash in it. I believe that's bottom tree, and that the arc one has seismic charge, which I believe is top tree, and that the solar is the hammer strike melting point, which I believe is bottom tree, but I don't remember for sure. Just make sure you guys just double check and make sure you have melting point, seismic strike, or shield bash on, and that way you can have an easy shoulder charge. Because shoulder charge are one-hit kills, and your abilities will gem back pretty quickly, and so you could reasonably get a handful of those shoulder charge kills each and every single map. You just have to sprint, wait until your screen kind of glows a little bit, and it gives you the little proc on the left side of seismic charge, shield bash, or hammer strike, and then click that melee button and you'll do a fun little animation and get a one-hit kill. Now there are two exotics I would suggest using this one. First and foremost would be Insurmountable Skullfront. That exotic is fantastic for Seismic Strike, because every time you kill an enemy with Seismic Strike, you get your ability right back. And so you could just continuously run around the map with your ability going. Just make sure you're not shoulder charging into someone who has like an overshield because they're in their super, or just an overshield because you have a slight chance of not being able to kill them with that one hit. And then the other exotic is the ACD/O Feedback Fence. This has Fury Conductors as its intrinsic perk, and when you're struck by a melee, it builds energy and reduces incoming damage, and releases an energy that damages the person that punched you. So it's a little bit more of a defensive super, but it builds up some energy, and I think if I remember correctly, there's a chance of it counting towards punch kills, but it's not guaranteed. I mean, the reason I mentioned ACD/O Feedback Fence is because it helps protect you from all those other people that are trying to punch you. So it makes getting your punches just a little bit easier because you're maybe not dying to punching quite as much, and people might stay away from you. Or if you're just like, hey, let's get rid of all these punching hunters or whatever, I don't even care about this, that could be a fun one just to slap on and see how many people don't notice you're wearing that exotic armor. Then finally, when it comes to melees, I have not had the best opportunity to try and test this out myself, but I believe this would work because this has worked for things in the past. In the past, when there's been a requirement for melee kills, melee supers such as Juggernog, Shield Bash, the Arc Strider, and Spectral Blades have worked to count as melee kills because those supers are melee based. So what I would do if I was you guys, I would also have on a super that is a melee super, so that way you get progress towards your super kills as well as your melee kills. And finally, for the super part of this quest, guys, just use whatever super you feel the most comfortable with. If you want to have the highest potential to get the most percentage done per super, use one that's like a roaming super, like Golden Gun, Spectral Blades, Arc Strider, Shield Bash, Juggernaut, Nova Warp, that kind of thing. Or if you just want to go all or broke, where you know you almost are guaranteed to get a kill, use that tracking Nova Bomb, use the Blade Barrage, use Thunder Crash, where you just slam into somebody. But really, for supers, there's really no trick to it, guys. Just maybe have on some super mods, masterworked weapons, and capture a lot of zones so you get more super energy back. Alright, I hope this video and information was helpful to you guys. I should put a little bit of research on the internet to see what works well for you, and if I can pull up some links for ones that make the most sense, that way you can see all the exotic armors and things of that nature. I will have that in the description box for all of you guys. Otherwise, I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Please let me know what you think of it. Your viewership really helps me out and makes me feel really good. So thank you guys all so much for checking this out. I'm ChurchofCaboose, and happy grinding, y'all.